When I was young, I didn't collect anything. However, I did do a lot of activities like acrobatics and then gymnastics. I took classes, and I also took swimming lessons. I was forced to take swimming lessons, but I'm glad I did now because I know how to swim. I was very interested in the environment from an early age. I remember I saw an ad in the back of a magazine for a free magazine, and that's what intrigued me, was the free. And when it came, it was all about pollution and how horrible it was and what are we going to do about it. And I think that was the beginning of my love or drive for sustainability. I think the job I have now is probably the most interesting as a market manager, just because there's so much going on, and every week is a different situation. So I really like that. After that, I used to own a professional organizing company. So I used to go in and help people declutter at their homes, and I also helped them move. So it was a very rewarding. First job I ever got hugged in, because people were so happy about how much better their house looked when I was done. I've also been a paralegal, which I liked at first, and then it got mundane. I've been a waitress, which I liked as well. I was the administrator of a Montessori preschool, which was good too. I got to use a lot of my skills, but it ran its course as well. I've been a receptionist, and I've volunteered a lot. I think that I've just had so many jobs. So many people in my generation, we were all taught to get one job and keep it for the rest of your life. And I never found that one job. And I kept thinking I was going to figure it out, and I never did. So I've done things that I've loved and things that I haven't loved so much. And I was always looking for satisfaction rather than money. So that was unique as well, because most people are concerned about money, but I'd rather enjoy what I'm doing rather than worry about the money. So I never really found the perfect job, but I tried a lot of things. I think if I knew then what I know now, and the opportunities that I see available now were available back when I was starting school, I would have completed a law degree and gone into environmental law, or I would have studied behavioral sciences or social sciences, because people fascinate me. And I always want to know what makes them tick, and I'm always asking why. And I think that would have been a very satisfying career as well. Well, I'm very organized. I've always been organized. I enjoy creating order from disorder. I'm a good planner. I can set goals and make lists and follow through on things. I like to help, and I like to learn. So in most jobs, if I can do all of those things, I'm very satisfied and I stay longer. But if I can't use my skills and keep learning, I get bored. So it takes a certain job to keep me interested. And I'm very interested in people and their stories. So if I have lots of people to talk to and learn about how they got to be where they are, I'm just fascinated. Of course, as I get older and I learn more, I know how to handle situations better. I think one thing I've learned and I'm still working on is trying to take a breath before I react or respond to someone. So if I could go back, I would take a breath before responding in stressful situations, and using that breath to think over how would this situation be best served by my answer so that nobody gets hurt and I don't walk away feeling completely crushed. How can I rise above the emotion and deal with this in a productive way so everybody can win? As time has gone by, I find that I am even closer to my kids. I have a daughter by birth and a son by marriage, and I'm very close to my daughter. She lives far away. We FaceTime at least once a week, usually more, and we text every day. So we're in touch pretty much more than when she lived in Vancouver. Our son is now married and busy getting on with his life. But I can say that, things are really good between us. We have great conversations. It took a few years for all of us to get used to each other as a family, but now we're a very tight-knit group, and we enjoy each other's company, and I really love the kids, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for them. So, yeah, I love being a mom. And so with having a son now who's married, I now have a daughter-in-law, which is exciting. I never thought much about being a mother-in-law and just carry on being me, but it's a happy time. It's nice to have an addition to the family, and they're doing great together. So. So I consider the vendors at the market another sort of family to me. I love them, and I want each of them to succeed in whatever way they decide success is. The first vendor that I ever signed up when I started my job had said to me that she wanted, her goal was to have an ice cream shop one day. And she now has one. So sadly, she's not at the market anymore, but she has a very successful ice cream store, and I'm so happy for her. And I'm still in touch. I still see her, and it's just, I always hold that memory dear that she started out at our market. Of course, I want everyone to stick around because I like them, and it's nice to have the same vendors all the time. It keeps the customers happy, but that's unfair because we also are, the market, we consider ourselves an incubator of businesses. So we want to help people grow beyond a market vendor if they want to. For some people, it's ideal. Like, we have some single mothers, and this is an ideal job for them because they can stay with their kids and do the markets, and it works for their schedules so they can be around for their kids after school. And speaking of those kids, we call them the market kids, and it's so much fun to watch them grow up. And as they grow up, they become more and more part of the market. Some of them have started selling at the market just part-time, and it's just so rewarding to watch the kids. And then the kids from other vendors play with the other vendors' kids, so it really feels like a family atmosphere, especially in the summer when the kids are out of school. I think everyone has challenges in their lives. It's what we do with those challenges that really matters. I've faced health issues and personal issues throughout the years. I'm pretty happy and optimistic, so I tend to rise above all those things, and I always look for the good in people and situations. My health issue pushed me to take a deep look at what I was doing in my life, and it's what caused me to go back to university. And because of the chain of events, I ended up at the farmer's market. So in the long run, it was a good thing to reevaluate and make a drastic turn in what I was doing. COVID was a very challenging time as well. It personally and at work. With work, we were shut down immediately, and all these people struggling to make a living, and there's nowhere to go to market. And then we had a sudden turnaround, and we opened an online market, which was quite successful for a time, and it was still a struggle for people to have no social interaction. It was very hard. I think I saw another side of people during COVID. Not always a nice side of people, but it's hard to forget those things afterwards. But it was a challenging time, but we made it. So. Education. I think education for me was what got me to this job, which was a very interesting, circuitous route to get to. I ended up with a master's, and during my program, we talked a lot about food security, and we went to Powell River on a field trip to learn about what that remote community did with respect to food security, and it really stuck with me, what everybody was doing and what can be done better to help people on islands or remote areas. And not long thereafter, I started volunteering at Loaves and Fishes, the food bank, and I applied for a job with them, and I didn't get the job. And then somebody I volunteered with told me about the job at the farmer's market. So I applied for it, interviewed, and didn't get the job. And then about 6 months later, they contacted me and asked if I was still interested. So I interviewed again, and I got the job. And I know that if I hadn't had that education, I would never have linked into this job. And I find it very rewarding, and I think I'm helping, which makes me feel really good. So I think education was really important for me in this situation. Oh my God, I love dogs. I love dogs. I love all animals, but there's just something about dogs that they just all won my heart. There's not a dog that I think is ugly. There's not a dog I don't love. I wave at dogs in cars. I talk to every dog I see. My husband and daughter send me videos and TikToks of dogs doing funny things or cute things. I can't get enough of dogs. I've loved dogs my whole life. I've had dogs my whole life, and I just think they're amazing creatures. And at the beginning of the winter market, I had said no dogs in the building. And as soon as somebody walks up with a dog, it melts my heart, and I just give them a wink and go, "Oh, it's a sport dog, right?" And in they go. I just love dogs. I can't even explain it.